Hey guys, it's ViewMasters Reactions, and we're back with Undeadwood, Critical Role's Undeadwood. So for the last 30 minutes, I've been trying to figure out how to make this work with my cowboy hat, and it doesn't seem like it's gonna work. One, it won't fit with the chair. I have to sit like a foot off the chair, or the back of it keeps hitting the back, and it's so high up, there's no way I could physically sit tall enough. Two, I can't put the headphones on with the hat on. So these are things you don't think of till you actually sit in the chair. I prepared all this stuff and none of it's gonna work. So I will show you the hat I was gonna wear. The hat that I have is Raylan Givens' hat from Justified, Timothy Oliphant's character, who also plays Bullock in Deadwood, the main character pretty much. I mean, there is a lot of main characters per se, but I feel like he was the main guy of maybe three. Two specifically. I feel like Swearingen Al was probably my favorite, maybe the most important in Deadwood. I don't know if any of these names are going to matter. I reacted to the entire Deadwood series on my channel. Second show I ever reacted to after The Wire. I believe I did them at the same time. When I started Deadwood, I was already into like season 2 or 3 of The Wire at that point, but that was my second show. Loved it. So I felt it was fitting that I discovered Vox Machina and Critical Role, and that they did this. I felt it was fitting. Ezekiel is also one of the characters, and I also reacted to The Walking Dead in the beginning. I have since stopped reacting to Walking Dead only because there's certain shows I just gotta watch on my own. I just can't react to everything. Some of them are shows I watch with family members, stuff like that, traditional things that we've been watching forever. But this is what we're doing now, Undeadwood. My Raylan Givens Justified hat. It is the official hat from the TV show. I have two of them. One I wear, and one is in a box that is untouched still to this day that I bought like 10 years ago, but I love it, and it just won't go on my head with the earphones and stuff. So this was supposed to be what I wear. It just doesn't work. But from what I'm told in the comments, this is being hosted by Ashley Johnson's husband, major fan of Deadwood, from what I'm told. I have no idea. This is just what I'm told, so it could be completely wrong, but I trust the people in the comments told me accurately. So I'm told it's Ashley Johnson's husband, huge fan of Deadwood, also a fan slash member slash friend of Critical Role, I guess, however you want to take it. I'm assuming he's been on other things and is good friends with all these people. Just the fact they're allowing him to, I guess, dungeon master them in this Undeadwood type format, I'm not really sure how it's going to go. I know the campaigns are 3 to 4 hour videos. These are 2-hour videos, and they're only 4 parts. I am assuming it's more scripted, and by that I mean more following a path to get from one point to another, as opposed to their campaigns where they probably just like wing it, and whatever happens, happens. They go off the cuff more there. I feel like this has a set path. But we're going to find out. I want to jump in. The way these are going to go is I'm going to put up the first 30 minutes of the episode, and then this Thursday we will do a live stream, and we will continue the rest of that episode from where I left off. But from there, it'll be a watch along, just me watching it. You guys could tune in and watch along. It's on YouTube for free, so you could easily sync up and watch along with, but it'll be more of a reason for me to engage with you guys while watching it. Therefore, I learn more, I could talk to you guys, and honestly, I don't think it'd be right for me to put up the entire episodes in full on YouTube, and I'd also like to mix it up a little, see what we could do. So then after that, we'll see where we go from here, but for now, you guys want to see more of what I do, full unedited reactions, all the shows on the channel, seasons ahead of what you're seeing, and hundreds of exclusives you'll only see on Patreon, link in front of me. If not, here we go, guys. Part 1 of Critical Role's Undeadwood. Part 1. Stay close, Reverend. I wonder if we're going to get voices.
Deep in the Black Hills of the Dakota Territory sits the not-so-sleepy town
Redemption.
Deadwood. Built by people who wanted no part or were indifferent to the United States. It's a lawless town, a mining town that attracts a certain type of individual. One with high constitution, many with low intelligence. Many trying to escape the law, previous lives, certain events in town, certain events outside of town.
I like it.
Come here for a myriad of reasons.
Sorry.
The locals have formed a semblance of order, keeps the town from going off the rails.
Bullock's Hotel.
But there is no law. Warrants are not honored here. You are likely to get shot for asking someone where they're from. A lot of people keep to themselves. A lot of people get in other people's business.
He set it up just like the
Those who
town
run
of
the town
Deadwood.
have agreed upon rules that keep things somewhat in order despite the fact there's no law. These people were smart. They're not freezing their balls off in the creek. They wait for the miners to come back to town, take their money in games of chance, faro, whiskey, women, pretty much.
I love the quality, man. Very nice quality. Who's that? I don't know who that is.
Have gathered around the church at the edge of town. As you can see, it suffered a fire in recent weeks. The Reverend
I love
Mason
that the prop
has come to Deadwood
is on fire, or was.
in an attempt to rebuild the church, and is having a gathering on the front steps of the church. Now, a crowd begets a crowd. So you find yourself huddled around with the other Deadwood residents as Reverend Mason is delivering a speech.
Reverend Mason. Travis.
My children, gather near. I bring you glad tidings of joy, of hope, of forgiveness.
Does he have a scar?
I see weariness in your eyes. I see forlorn despair, and it need not be that way. I know this might seem like a godless town, but I bring you glad tidings.
I'm assuming all this is improv.
hope.
They're not
All of
following
us.
a script, right?
A chance to begin anew each day, just as the sun rises. I would only ask that you all join me here once a week. But I am here any time that you may need.
I like there's a bartender
No matter where you come from,
card
no
dealer
matter
in the back.
what walk of life you have found yourself in before, you have a chance to start new, a chance at rebirth here in Deadwood. I know the previous Reverend was driven out by some energetic celebrations. He was perhaps not right for this town. I am not afraid. I'm not afraid of you or what you bring. with you
Everyone's so
each day and night.
serious.
I will be here to listen. And I hope you will join me in helping to rebuild this beautiful chapel for our Lord and your Savior.
Cheers to the Reverend. My
I am one of
delicious
his.
redemption.
And I hope to minister to all of you in whatever way that I can. So come.
Even the
morning and night,
wind
I
is
will
blowing
be
his
here with a
hair.
patient ear. And I will hear whatever it is that
When he's done with his speech,
may
we'll
weigh heavy
drink.
on your hearts. I hope you'll join me. I'll place a hat here each morning if you find yourselves in the giving mood in a
Ezekiel looks
inspiration to
so
help
perfect for
rebuild
this.
this place of
I know
love
that's
and
not his
hope.
name.
Please give whatever you can. I promise you it will be put to good use. We will rebuild this church of Deadwood. Thank you.
Seems like
I
a
hope
decent
to see all
guy.
of your faces again.
I don't know if we could trust him yet, but seems like a decent Reverend. Cheers to the Reverend.
As he puts the hat down, a few people sort of walk up, toss a couple of coins into the hat. One of the drunken hoopleheads just sort of
Hoopleheads.
spits into the hat and walks away. As the Reverend Mason finishes his speech,
Spits into the hat.
a couple of people that sort of
I mean, that's
clap in the
typical
back.
Deadwood shit.
Someone yells out, "Suck my dick!"
That's me. I did that.
Pretty typical behavior. As you are gathered
She
around,
looks
people are sort of
familiar,
mingling
but I
and
don't
sort of discussing
know.
what the Reverend just said, and some are very intrigued by it. Some are, this is pointless. Some of you that have been in town for a few days or weeks might recognize Johnny, one of the barkeeps at the Gem Saloon. He's sort of
Gem
making his way
Saloon.
through
The
crowd,
Gem.
And
That's
he
Al's
comes up
place,
to
the Gem.
Your character, Anjali, Miriam, and says,
Anjali.
Mr. Swearingen would like to see you at the gym. Now, preferably. Moves along, moves over to Mr. Fogg, says,
Mr. Fogg.
Swearingen would like to see you at the gym saloon sooner rather than later.
Is Al going to be a character? I hope Al's part of it.
Same thing. Mr. Swearingen wants to talk to you.
I love Marissa's faces. She looks like the classy dame. The lady who had the
Doesn't
rich
appear to be
husband
telling
kind
anyone
of
else who
look.
told them. And lastly, he
Cannot remember.
climbs the steps where Reverend Mason is standing stoically and says,
Mr. Swearingen would like to see you sooner rather than later.
All right, everybody. He wants to see everybody. Swearingen.
I follow behind Johnny, and I take
Swidgen.
my $5 bill, and I put it in the hat in front of Mr. Mason.
Bless you, my child.
Bless you, my child.
Thank you,
Bless
Reverend. Moving speech.
Thank you. How'd I do?
It was all right.
I assume he's a good dude. I watch at the end, he's like a devious maniac. She looks like Mrs. Garrett. Miss Garrett?
character.
I can't remember her name.
Oh, we'll take that into our future design plans.
you're following Johnny. Does anybody else want to follow Johnny, or you want to do your own thing, or what are you feeling?
And isn't Johnny...
Conversation between the two of them.
I'm pretty sure Johnny was Al's guy. He had a bunch of guys.
At Reverend Mason, and I put a few coins in the hat and just move on and follow Arabella.
I thank you. Peace be with you.
Yeah, she must run the whorehouse. No offense, but she looks like the madam of the whorehouse.
That were apparently contacted by Johnny and just quietly waited at the back of the crowd for them to make their way.
I step forward slowly. I've got a bit of a hitch in my gait. My right leg is turned toward the inside pretty hard. I just nod towards the Reverend.
Is that real, though, or is he faking a gimp?
I get along just fine.
Of course. Is there anything that's weighing on your heart?
No, I'll be all right.
Very well.
I so much enjoy him right there. Beautiful man. I don't know what he did before Walking Dead, but he seems
Same.
very
So
well
three of
versed
you
in
will
this
be
kind of
about,
stuff.
I would say halfway down the thoroughfare on the way to the gym. It's not
I
far.
love that they're hanging at the gem.
I'm just keeping my head down, trying not to draw attention, even though I know it's moot.
It's about midday right now, so the thoroughfare is bustling. There's people selling whiskey shots on the street. There's a dentist on the street. There's obviously these house merchants, but throughout.
I wonder if
you know,
Cy
tons
Tolliver's
of shit
there.
happening in the thoroughfare. There's all kinds of different trades, people trying to thieve other people. So it's pretty busy. There's a lot of stuff happening. So you could go through without anybody really paying too much attention.
Does it look like anyone else is approaching the hat or the front
A
steps?
few people toss some coins in. Someone probably tries to take the hat. Someone else nudges them and sells them like might be a little overboard. You know? So do you want to stay there? Do you want to collect your hat?
I'll collect my hat. Thank the others that
My
have
God,
been
things
reminded
must have been
Sundays,
so
bright
much more
early
difficult
sunrise,
back then. I'm going to take a seat
and
back.
start to make my way towards.
Hi, Rowdy Roddy Piper.
Once the Reverend goes ahead and picks up his hat and makes his way that direction, gonna glance around and see if anybody else is paying attention, and all the rest of the bustling that's happening, I just keep about 20 feet behind them.
Okay. The rest of you enter the gym saloon. It's a saloon.
Well then,
There's two
thank you.
stories. Upstairs are the horse chambers.
The horse chambers.
Downstairs, the bar, the tables. Johnny leads most of you in. You see
It's
Dan
got to
at the
be
bar
Johnny.
polishing a
The same.
shotgun.
I mean, Johnny's a popular name, but
He's got
Johnny
whiskey
was
there, he's
Al's
got his
dude.
shotguns. He's polishing his guns. He kind of looks at you. He's not surprised to see you, but he looks you all up and down just the same. And Johnny comes in and he says, "Hey, I brought all the
Johnny was kind of a numbnuts, like a
people you
simpleton,
wanted me to
but
go fetch for Al."
it's Al. I was praying it wasn't a different
Dan
swear
says,
engine.
"You know how to count to 5, Johnny?" Johnny says, "Most of the time, yeah, I think so." He's like, "You see 5 people here?" I told the guy, I told all of them, you guys can come in if you want to sit at the bar, if you want to sit at one of the tables, whatever you guys want to do as you walk into the gym. And we're still waiting for Clayton is straggling behind, but the rest of you.
I'll sit at a table.
Okay.
Yeah.
What?
Around trying to see if there are any other
Yeah.
tables where any women are seated besides women of the house?
Not right now.
Women of the house.
You see some of the women of the house kind of up on the balcony. They're checking some of you out. Some of you look a little bit different than the type of people they're used to in this establishment.
All right, so I
Not
guess
really
they're...
used to seeing a man of the cloth walk into a place like this very frequently either. So they're kind of whispering to themselves, and they're kind of like looking at the girls, looking at the guys, kind of just like...
See, I assumed she was the madam, but I'm assuming now that they're
I'm
all
going to sit at the table.
unknown in this town,
diagonal
so she
with
can't...
Arabella, like kind of the farthest seat that I can, but acknowledging.
You give a nod?
I have a seat at the table and spit on the floor,
Okay.
ladies.
I'll go in and say hello to Mr. Doherty, and I will saddle up to the bar.
Okay. He pours you a shot.
Doherty.
You drink, Reverend?
Mr. Doherty.
That's early. Yes, I mean, of course, absolutely.
Sun's up, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
And it ain't too early for a drink.
Very well.
Pours you a whiskey. He walks over to the table. Whiskey, friends?
Sure, why not? When in Rome.
When in Rome.
Alone.
Does that exist back then? When in
Pours you
Rome? I guess
whiskey,
so.
and he leaves you
I guess it
him
would.
and
Much you
Johnny
good,
return to
sir.
the bar.
You buy me a drink.
Seems like an appropriate thing to do.
One, please.
Dan leaves the bottle on the table, heads back to the bar. Him and Johnny go behind there and start sort of whispering to each other.
I think right about this time I entered the establishment, kind of case everyone's positioning. Is my usual corner table abandoned, or at least
It's empty.
it's empty?
It's not a very busy day at the gym.
I go ahead and take a seat and back to the wall. Just keep an eye on the central space.
Johnny
He is the
looks at
most
Dan.
mysterious right now. I mean, everyone's kind of mysterious, but he...
That fella gives me the creeps. Dan says, who the fuck couldn't that be said about? He walks over with the bottle and a shot glass. Whiskey, sir.
And it's Dan. Dan was the nut. I love Dan.
Pours you a shot, leaves the bottle, walks back behind the bar.
To new friends.
Did you say to no friends or to new friends? Because I think both is appropriate.
Cheers.
Arabella, you've been in town for a couple of weeks. You've
Oh.
been in town for a couple of weeks, Miriam. Reverend, you've been in town a little bit. Clayton, you've kind of been in town. Fogg,
All right, so that explains it. Okay.
you've
I
been
thought
in
maybe they all
town
just rode in.
rather recently.
He is.
So as you're sitting there drinking your whiskey, you hear from the balcony a door open extremely quickly, and his figure comes out to the...
Al. It's Al.
Those of you that have been in town know that this is the unofficial head cock of this town. The owner, pimp, proprietor of the Gem Saloon, Al Swearingen, and he bustles out of his office into the balcony. He says, "Johnny, bring him the fuck up! Bring the whiskey!" Johnny runs over. Y'all got to go upstairs right now. Y'all got to go upstairs. He grabs a whiskey bottle.
I love the connection to the Deadwood
Do you guys
characters.
upstairs? So everyone makes their way upstairs to Al's office. Johnny and Dan are in tow behind you. You get into the office, and Al's sitting behind his desk. He's got papers in front of him, whiskey, his glasses, some different types of important-looking documents, some scribbles, some different stuff. It's sort of a mess. He's been sitting there trying to crack something for a while, you get the sense. As you guys walk in, there's 5 seats right in front of Al's desk. And he says, "Have a seat if you please."
I mean, it's called Undeadwood. I'm assuming there's a zombie outbreak or something at some point. And Ezekiel's here.
For one of the gentlemen to pull out a chair.
I'll pull that you out.
Thank you.
Thank you for the drink.
Cheers.
As soon as you guys are seated, 5 shot glasses appear before you. Dan pours 5 shots.
Why the fuck did I pay for that?
Another one.
Al's kind of looking everybody up. And
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, you can't have more than one.
Motley fucking.
I'm going to have another one
The
in a
fact that all of
second.
you would be in the same room at the same time is a little odd, considering the way you all look and the way you all sort of conduct yourselves. Al says, "Please have a seat. Oh, and sorry to hear about your sister. By all accounts, she was," and he looks at Johnny and Dan, and Dan kind of nudges Johnny, and Johnny says, "She was a lovely bird." And Al says, "I love you."
Ow.
Yes, and Reverend, we have not had occasion to meet yet. But one of your predecessors, Reverend Smith, was like a brother. Sorry to hear about Cranes, but he made bad waves in this town. I don't get the sense he'll make the same mistake.
I'm trying to catch all the names, and so far I don't think any of them reference anybody.
Genuine condolences is appreciated.
I didn't have occasion to meet your sister either, but she was pretty well known around town, kept to herself, didn't really make a lot of waves.
She was smart.
My God, everyone's so like stoic.
Oh, I would like to think that I've learned something from her, just a little bit.
I mean, you had to be like that back then. You can't
Which I guess could bring me to
show
the question
nothing.
of what you have interest in us for.
Yeah, like what's going on? Come on, let's get to the
haven't heard?
plot here. I'm loving it. You haven't heard?
I certainly haven't.
Zombie outbreak.
No.
Notwithstanding my usual hesitation in working with strangers, find myself in need of some help. My road agents have reported mining on the outskirts of town where it's strictly forbidden. We live by a fucking code. And the only way this thing stays together is if the fucking code is honored. And someone's breaking the fucking code. And to me it smells like that George Hurst or the
Hurst.
fucking Pinkertons. And they all need to die.
All
I
relative
want
to
you
Deadwood.
Find out what you can. I can't use my normal guys for this. Many of them are dead or their cover's blown. Discretion is important.
Oh, so
Each of you, minus you, Mr. Fogg, have been watched closely since you've been in town. And I get the sense you've all kept so discreet, this mission won't be too impossible.
so he's purposely
I offer
picking
you
people that
500 gold.
aren't out in the open, and he's
250
not even
now?
known.
250 upon the return of successful information that helps me bring down whoever the fuck is doing this.
I assume Al knows there's more to
Dan
it,
will get you outfitted with directions.
or maybe they have
Half a
no
day's
clue
ride.
until they get
Oh,
there.
I'm sorry, Mr. Swearingen. Did you mean 500 gold each, or to split between the 5 of us?
Each.
500 gold each. 250 now.
That sounds like a
250
lot of
upon
money.
My discretion of successful information that I can use to take down whoever's doing this.
I mean, Al played dirty sometimes, but
Use in church.
Mr. Swearingen, forgive my curiosity here, but what would make you think that someone of our delicate sensibilities might be suited to this
yeah,
particular
like why them?
mission
Bunch of
sorts?
unknowns, quiet
After all,
unknowns.
The fairer and weaker sex may need to be outfitted with a different kind of equipment to be considered safe in this particular circumstance. And I just don't know if, don't know what makes you think we'd be up to the task.
That derringer attached to your thigh tells me you're up to the task.
Huh?
Oh, you do have a keen eye, don't you?
Well, I didn't have you sit down for nothing. Your delicate sensibilities may not be as delicate as you think. I need you because you're strangers.
Marissa's faces are great. She's just like cocked with her eye the whole time, very suspicious of
Because I
everybody.
think every single one of you, including you, Reverend,
Serves a purpose.
are fucking killers.
or that.
I don't mind taking your money, sir. I do mind working with other people that I ain't never met before. Who's vouching for these people?
Their actions.
Well, can you tell me something I don't know?
Yeah, you know him for.
Going out in the dark with 4 people I ain't never met before?
Or perhaps some introductions?
By all means.
I am the Reverend Matthew. I'm new-ish from Rapid City, South Dakota. I'm very pleased to meet all of you. I'll be able to help however I can.
I want to trust him, but I feel
How'd
like
you get that scar, or is that too forward?
No, not at all. Shaving accident.
Shaving.
Were it such an innocent tale? I'm afraid I've come from rough cities myself. Rapid City is filled with the forlorn and discouraged from Deadwood. And tales of hope and joy are not always well received in the late hours of the night.
So you spend your days going from burnt church to burnt church asking for money?
Oops, way to put it.
Doesn't appear that way, doesn't it? Seems so. Yes, I haven't had much luck spreading the good word, but I'm hoping that Deadwood could be a new start myself.
With 500 gold, you could probably do a
What a
lot.
good heart you must have.
Oh, I don't know if it's good, but I try to stay in the light.
What a good man.
Yes, onward.
I'd ask you to produce one testicle so we could verify its size, but other things need tending to. Church in Deadwood.
I guess I'll go next. I'm Arabella Whitlock. Recently, Mrs. Arabella Whitlock.
Recently. Husband
married
died.
to Mr. Eugene Whitlock, and I just came in from Atlanta not that long ago. Not entirely sure what Mr. Swearingen thinks he can get out of a woman with my standards and financial background, but I'm assuming that'll reveal itself in time.
Do they have to inform him of
I know
what
you don't need the money.
their characters are going to be?
I know you
Or are
want
they
something
just
else.
totally off the cuff right now?
And what, pray tell, do you assume that I need, Mr. Swearingen?
I think you may find it along the way. By the way, your husband's a bit of a fucking dude. A little bit of a recluse.
A
not really
fucking
seen about
dude.
town like yourself.
I know how to use that to my advantage.
Oh, I'm sure you do. Should that fortune
See, is he
try
like
out,
making things up about her and she's got to play off it? Or is this established? That's what's curious to me.
What about you?
I love it.
Man of
I'm assuming
solid
they're
merits.
just going at each other with improv.
Tend only to speak when it's necessary. I'm Clayton Sharp,
Clayton
high
Sharp.
security. Whenever the jobs are available, otherwise I'm here drinking. Not much else to me. Pleasure to make your acquaintance.
Are you guarding anyone in particular, Mr. Sharp?
Well, based on today and this pay that Mr. Swearingen is putting down in front of me, guarding this possible outside claim. That's about it.
So you're not wanting to raise suspicion, but you hired this guy?
He knows how to keep quiet.
Well, I would definitely rather have you on my side.
I was going to say, he seems the most qualified, but very
My name
quiet.
is Mrs. Miriam Landisman. My husband Harrison and I came out from Chicago. He stayed behind in Cheyenne to set up business and sent me on forward to do a little bit of research on Deadwood and the prospects for us here.
I don't know how typical that is. You send your wife alone to Deadwood?
Nothing particularly scholarly, I'm afraid. More just finding out what the needs of this particular settlement might be and whether or not we might fulfill them.
I don't trust her for some reason.
What type of business are you in?
Science.
We like to consider ourselves purveyors of goods needed. Whatever you might need to find, we can find it for you.
It's good to know.
A reputation befitting the task.
I mean, maybe they're just criminals, but not bad people.
Conspicuous group. Perhaps minus you, Mr. Sharp.
Well, sir, to be perfectly honest, I'm a little surprised you brought me in on this particular mission for that reason alone. I prefer to keep to my own, but the pay is good.
Not committing to the fact these are tenderfoots, but in your shadow, it would seem the case.
So most of them want to work alone, aka him and Ezekiel
Call
mainly.
me Allie.
Allie?
I'll call him Allie. I'll stop calling him Ezekiel.
A sin I hope you've forgiven her for.
Love it.
What brings you to Deadwood?
I'm a interpreter.
I hope he
Track
did.
of
Did he just accidentally drink the spit? Because that's what I keep
Not
thinking.
to be found so much. Seemed like a good spot to land.
Yet we got word you were imminent.
Yes, you did.
Your reputation precedes you, Mr. Fogg.
Fortunately and unfortunately.
Also, people are terrible at minding their own damn business.
Well, now that we've all spent some time getting acquainted, all I'm asking is to investigate the mining site, report back what you found. If information you provide me allows me to shut down whatever thieving operation they've got on the hill, it protects our fucking interests here. And if any of you plan to stay in the camp, we'll protect your interests. I guarantee you, if someone's breaking the rules for whatever they think is up there, and it ain't gold, these are dangerous people. And this close to town, this type of behavior makes me fucking nervous.
Sounds thrilling.
Thank you,
With
Al.
the business, best we get to this as soon as possible, right?
It seems so. What time of day is this right now?
Midday, it's a little after midday.
Probably.
And Al looks around to each of you, sensing you're still a little trepidatious. Says, Johnny the Gold. And in front of each of you,
$250.
250 gold.
250 gold, not dollars.
On Al's
250
desk.
gold.
Right in front of you. And Al says, verify the contents, or get the fuck out.
Grab the gold, finish the shot, without a word, get up and leave.
I won't mind verifying just because I haven't seen a bag with 250 gold in. Is it coins, nuggets? What is it like?
This would be 250 gold in gold.
Like just
Weighted.
weighted gold. Okay, that's how Deadwood did it. They just weighed it.
Yeah, it's gold.
Lord bless you and keep you, Mr. Swearingen, and I'll follow Mr. Clayton out, or Mr. Sharp out. Excuse me.
Yep,
I'll verify after seeing that he did.
absolutely. You see what you would assume is 250 gold. It's a heavy fucking bag of gold.
I wonder if one of them didn't verify if they got
I
cheated.
don't mind this heavy a load when it's made of such substance.
I take a look in my bag. All right then.
Mind topping off a lady for the road?
Oh.
Without a doubt.
One more drink. She wants her free shots.
I take the bag. I do not verify, and I leave.
Okay.
I do not verify. Watch that
As you all make
bites
your
her in the
way
ass.
downstairs, back to the floor of the gym saloon. Dan has returned to the bar, and Al yells over the balcony to him, Dan, secure for these individuals whatever means they need to accomplish this.
All right, so we
Give
got
them
some
directions
help.
out to the site. And he looks at each of you and he says, also, help yourself to any of the ladies on your way out, should you need to. That goes for you too, girls.
Goes for you
Let's
too,
just say
ladies.
this ain't the type of place where that kind of behavior is frowned upon. And he goes back into the office and slams the door. You're now downstairs at the bar where Dan and Johnny are.
Well, guys, I just thought that was a good place to stop. They introduced themselves. We met Al. We understand what they're being hired for. I am assuming when they go to the mine, there's going to be some sort of zombie outbreak or something going on there, obviously, that is making this Undeadwood. I can't imagine it doesn't have something to do with zombies when they brought in Ezekiel from The Walking Dead, aka Allie in this. Ali? I think they said Allie. Either way, they had to have brought him in for the connection to the undead zombie stuff, as well as, I guess, everyone's love of Deadwood. You could clearly see, in this case, Brian, the Dungeon Master, who is the husband of Ashley Johnson, the character of Pike. He's obviously a massive Deadwood fan, so it has all the connections I wanted. They have an entire layout of the town, all the buildings. It looks like it's set up just like Deadwood was set up. We have Al Swearingen still running the gem. I wonder if other people are going to pop up, because so far we have Johnny and Dan. In the beginning, I wasn't sure if it was Johnny, like Al's Johnny, the Johnny from Deadwood, but now you got Dan too. Dan and Johnny were his main guys. I love them both. They were both horrible people, as well as Al. but they were like my kind of horrible people. If you had to live and survive in the Old West, you had to team up with people that were bad at some point, and Al was the guy you want to team up with if you're going to go towards the sides of bad. I mean, you have Cy Tolliver, who might pop up. Tolliver was the richer guy that kind of came into Deadwood later on and gave Al a whole lot of trouble, and then Al had to team up with Bullock and everything else. We saw Bullock's store in the map. I don't think, unless I missed them real quick, no one else from the show has popped up besides Al, Johnny, Dan. They kept talking about Mr. Sharp. Oh, they talked about George Hurst. So George Hurst is still part of it. At the conclusion, spoiler alert if you haven't seen or finished Deadwood, but spoiler alert, George Hurst was another guy that came into town, and he was even bigger and badder than Tolliver. So you kind of had like Al, who ran shit in Deadwood. Then Tolliver came in, sort of a little more money and more power, but Al knew people and had a position in Deadwood where they were butting heads constantly. Even though Tolliver seemed like he might always get the jump on Al always stuck to his guns, pun intended. Then George Hurst came to town, and he was way too powerful for everybody, and they kind of had to make it work with him. And then, I don't want to get into the whole ending of Deadwood and everything, but I love that they're incorporating all these people. Here is our roster of characters. Brian is obviously the dungeon master. He's everybody. He was Al for the most part in this scene here, at the end at least. But we have Mr. Sharp, who is Matt Mercer. He is a security guy. I don't think he's a character. I don't think any of them are playing characters or relatives of anybody from Deadwood. Marissa lied about her last name. Either that or recently she said got married, so changed her last name. I feel like she probably did get married and changed her last name, but we also found out from Brian that her sister died recently and lived in town. So my guess is she didn't want them to know who her sister was by saying her last name. We also have Ali Fogg, Mr. Fogg, who is the guy who plays Ezekiel. Apologize, I keep calling him Ezekiel. I cannot remember the actor's name. He plays a guy with a gimpy leg who just rode into town. He is the most mysterious and unknown of all of them. He doesn't like to work with other people, and I don't blame him. He doesn't know who any of these people are, but Swearingen, for some reason, hires him, maybe because he's unknown, maybe because he poses no threat. I guess it's better you hire somebody that you know isn't connected to anybody than just take a chance on someone in town that you don't trust. But who's to say he didn't come riding into town because whoever is on the mines doing what they're doing or whatever's happening in the mines, he could have came into town to help these people, and now you just hired the enemy. But right now, I trust the outsider the most, and I just love the way he is and how he acts. So he's saying he's got a hitch in his step. I don't know if that's real or not. It could be like a Kaiser Soze kind of thing where he's faking it so they see no threat in him, but he's interesting. I like him. Matt Mercer seems to have been around the longest. I think they said he was in town the longest. Marissa's been in town a little bit. The other lady, they've all been in town a bit, but some more than others, none for an extremely long time, unless I feel like I might have misheard. Brian either said Matt was in town for a few weeks or a few years. Did he say one of them was in town for a few years? Because Brian is like, yeah, you could trust Mr. Sharp over here. He keeps quiet. He won't do nothing. And he's hired security. So he is probably, out of everybody in this group, the most used to what is about to go down. That's kind of like his job. Woman that I don't recognize. I cannot remember her name. Miss Landsman or Lindisman or something like that. Literally asked Al Swearingen or Brian. She asked him, why us? We're like frail, like dainty women. Like, why would you need us? Why would you pay us all this money? 250 gold each on arrival, and once the job is done, that's 500 each. That's a lot of gold, and it's weighted gold. I remember that in Deadwood, they used weighted gold, so they just have sacks of gold now. A bunch of them are complete strangers to Al, but Al's probably thinking, what are you gonna run away with my money? I'll have you hunted down and killed, and Al's got that kind of reputation, so I doubt they'll pull that shenanigans. Not that they'd want to, because it's a game, and obviously you're not just gonna say, I up and left and just took the money, and my day is done here. Goodbye, everybody. Like, obviously you're adventure is going to continue in some form or another. But I'm really digging the way it's going. I love the connections to Deadwood. I am going to finish this on Thursday in a live stream. There's about an hour and a half left. At 5 o'clock on Thursday, I'm going to start a live stream. I know that Critical Role does their live streams at 7 p.m. It is also the day that Vox Machina is dropping, if it still drops at 7 p.m. Thursday, which it did the first week. So hopefully I could do this hour and a half live stream. We'll all talk, we'll chat. It'll be a watch along. It won't show the audio or video. You'll have to sync it up. It's free on YouTube, so you just watch along with me. We'll comment, we'll watch along, hour and a half, then we'll talk. Then you guys could jump over to Critical Role, watch their Campaign 3, their typical Thursday live stream, and I will jump right into Vox Machina, throw it up on Patreon in full, and then edit it up for you guys on YouTube as quick as possible. You guys want to see more of what I do, full-on edited reactions, all the shows on the channel, seasons ahead of what you're seeing, and hundreds of exclusives you'll only see on Patreon. The link's in front of me. If not, comments down below, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.